She picked up the first one by the scruff, crossed the room, laid it at your feet, looked up at you, and went back for the next one. You probably laughed. You probably took a video. You probably said something like, "Oh my god, she's bringing me her bobbies," and felt that particular warmth that only cats can produce in a person, that sudden, unexpected flood of being chosen by something that didn't have to choose you. And then you picked them up, cooed over them, handed them back, and moved on with your day. What you didn't know, what almost nobody knows, is that you just experienced one of the rarest things that can happen between a human and a cat. One of the most ancient, one of the most costly, one of the most profound expressions of trust that exists in the entire animal kingdom. And you almost missed what it meant. This video is about that moment. What it required of her to do it, what it cost her, what she was actually saying when she laid that first kitten at your feet and looked up at you, and what it means about who you are to her, not who you thought you were, not who you hoped you were, but who you actually are in the deepest part of how she understands the world. Stay until the very end, because the last thing I am going to tell you is about what happens when a cat tries to bring her kittens to someone and that person turns them away, what it does to the mother, what it does to the bond, and why that moment, the moment of being offered the most precious thing and not receiving it, is something a cat never fully forgets. But first, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with what it actually costs a mother cat to do what she just did. 1. You have to understand what she was built to do before you can understand what she chose not to do. A mother cat's entire biological architecture in the weeks after birth is organized around one single imperative: keep them hidden. Every instinct she carries, every piece of wiring built into her over millions of years of evolution, is screaming the same message on a continuous loop. The kittens are vulnerable. The kittens cannot run. The kittens cannot fight. The kittens cannot regulate their own temperature or find food or protect themselves from anything. They are in the most complete biological sense defenseless. And in nature, defenseless means dead the moment anything finds them. So the mother hides them. She chooses a location with multiple escape routes, with concealment, with limited scent exposure to the outside world. She keeps herself between them and every entrance. She moves them the moment she suspects the location has been compromised. She limits contact with anything that could carry their scent to a predator. She is, in those first weeks, operating as a full-time security system with one job and zero tolerance for failure. This is not personality. This is not one particular cat being overprotective. This is the bedrock of maternal feline instinct, a system so fundamental that it runs automatically, constantly, underneath every other behavior, shaping every decision she makes from the moment the kittens arrive until they are old enough to survive without her. And then, she picks one up. She carries it across the room, and she puts it at your feet. Do you understand what just happened? Do you understand what she just did? She took the thing her entire nervous system is built to protect from everything, the thing every alarm in her body is constantly monitoring, constantly guarding, constantly prepared to die for, and she voluntarily placed it in the hands of another species. Not reluctantly, not in a moment of confusion, deliberately, one at a time, looking at you between each one. Whatever you thought that moment was, whatever you filed it under in your memory, it was not small. It was not casual. It was not a quirky cat thing that you should save for Instagram. It was the single most trust-intensive act she is biologically capable of performing. And she performed it for you. 2. What she was reading before she ever picked up the first kitten. Here is what most people do not realize about that moment. It did not start when she picked up the first kitten. It started weeks before the kittens were born. It started in every interaction you ever had with her. Every time you walked into a room and she tracked you without tensing. Every time you reached toward her and she leaned in instead of pulling back. Every time you raised your voice in another room and she stayed where she was instead of hiding. Every time you moved through her space and she let you pass without repositioning herself between you and whatever she was protecting. She was building a file. Cats assess the humans in their environment with a consistency and a precision that most owners never fully appreciate. They track your patterns, your emotional states, your predictability, your responses to their signals, your behavior when you think they are not watching. They are always watching, and everything they observe goes into a continuously updated assessment of whether you are safe. Not whether you are kind, not whether you are good, whether you are safe, whether you are the kind of presence that can be trusted with something that cannot defend itself. Research on feline social cognition has found that cats maintain detailed behavioral profiles of the humans they live with, distinguishing between people based on consistency of response, emotional predictability, and historical behavior toward the cat herself. They are not simply reacting to you in the moment. They are consulting a history, and that history determines everything about what they are willing to offer you. When she brought you her kittens, she was not making a spontaneous decision. She was acting on a verdict she had been building for months, maybe for years. And the verdict was, this one is safe enough. Safe enough for the most vulnerable things in my world. Safe enough for everything I have. 3. The biological cost of what she did, and why it matters that you understand it. Let's talk about what happens happens inside a mother cat's body when she carries a kitten to a human. Because it is not comfortable, it is not easy, and it is not something her biology supports without a significant override. When a mother cat picks up a kitten to move it, her stress hormones rise. This is automatic and unavoidable. Moving a kitten means exposure. It means the kitten is in transit, briefly unprotected, briefly visible, briefly removed from the safety of the nest. Every time she carries one, her cortisol spikes. Her heart rate increases. Her senses go to maximum alert for the duration of the carry. In normal circumstances, when she is moving kittens to a safer location because she has assessed a threat, this stress response is the point. It keeps her sharp. It keeps her fast. It drives the urgency of getting the kitten hidden again as quickly as possible. But when she carries a kitten to you, she is generating that same stress response and then doing something extraordinary with it. She is walking toward it anyway. She is carrying the kitten not to a hidden place but to an open one, not away from a potential threat but toward a large animal of a completely different species whose behavior she can never fully predict. And she is doing this deliberately, repeatedly, with each kitten in sequence. A 2019 study from Oregon State University on feline attachment confirmed that securely bonded cats treat their owners as what researchers call a safe base, a fixed point of psychological safety so complete that the owner's presence overrides the cat's normal stress response to threatening situations, not reduces it, overrides it. Which means when she carried those kittens to you, her stress hormones were firing. Every alarm in her body was saying this is exposed, this is dangerous, this is the wrong direction. And she came anyway. Because you specifically are the exception her nervous system has built into itself, the presence that outweighs the alarm, the variable that changes the calculation. You are not just someone she trusts. You are someone she trusts more than she trusts her own fear. Think about what that means. Think about what kind of relationship produces that. Think about every day you spent in the same space as her, every time you moved carefully, every time you spoke softly, every time you gave her space or responded when she asked or simply existed in her world without threatening it. All of it added up to this. All of it built the exception for what she was asking and what the right answer looks like. When she laid that first kitten at your feet and looked up at you, she was not simply making a gesture. She was asking a question. In the language of cats, a language built entirely from behavior and body and instinct, because they have never had any other. She was asking the most important question she knows how to ask. Will you help me keep them safe? Not can you, not will you try. Will you? Are you the kind of presence that meets this offering with the same seriousness with which it was given? Are you, in the way that matters to her, someone who understands what is being placed in your hands? And here is what the right answer looks like, because most owners get this wrong, not out of cruelty, out of not knowing. When she brings you a kitten, do not immediately pass it around to everyone in the room. Do not call other people over to come see. Do not put it down somewhere across the room and walk away. Do not hold it for 30 seconds and then hand it back distractedly because something else caught your attention. Hold it calmly. Let her watch you hold it. Keep your movements slow and your voice low. Let her see that the kitten is in hands that know what careful looks like. Let her see that you understand what you are holding. And when you give it back gently, directly to her, in a way that says, I am returning this to you, not abandoning it somewhere. Then watch her. Watch whether she takes it back to the nest, or whether she lets it stay near you. Watch whether she settles nearby, or whether she positions herself between you and the kitten. Watch what her body tells you about how you just answered her question. Because she is grading you. Not harshly, not cruelly, but honestly. She brought you something precious and she is watching what you do with it. And what you do in that moment goes directly into the file she has been building on you. Goes directly into the verdict that determines what she offers you next time and the time after that. Be worth what she just gave you. 5. What she is teaching her kittens by doing this. Here is the layer that almost nobody talks about. The one that makes this moment not just about you and the mother, but about every kitten she just carried to your feet. She is not only bringing you her kittens. She is introducing her kittens to you. And in the specific way that introduction happens, in her body language as she carries them, in her posture as she watches you hold them, in her vocal behavior and her eye contact and her level of tension or ease during the entire exchange. She is transmitting something to those kittens that will live in them longer than this moment. She is telling them what you are. Research on feline social learning has confirmed that kittens learn fear and safety responses not only through direct experience, but through observational learning from their mother. A kitten who watches its mother interact with a human calmly, who is carried to that human without distress signals from the mother, who is held by that human while the mother remains nearby without alarm, that kitten is receiving a lesson. Humans are safe, this one specifically, this presence, this smell, this sound, this is something you can approach, this is something you do not have to fear. That lesson does not disappear when they grow up. It becomes part of the framework through which they interpret every human they meet for the rest of their lives. The mother cat who brought her kittens to you did not just show them to you, she shaped who they will be with people forever. You are not just meeting her kittens in that moment. You are being written into them. Your calmness, your gentleness, your careful hands, your soft voice, All of it is in there now, in whatever they become, in whoever they turn out to be with the humans who will love them after they leave this house. She chose you to be their first lesson in what a person is. And if you handled it the way you should have, if you were quiet and careful and present and worthy of what she offered, then somewhere in each of those kittens, for the rest of their lives, the word human has your shape. 6. What happens when a cat tries to bring her kittens to someone and is turned away? I promised you this, and it is the hardest part, because it happens more often than people realize, and usually not with cruelty, usually with exactly the kind of thoughtlessness that most of us are capable of on an ordinary day when we do not understand what is being offered. She carries the kitten over. You are busy. You are on your phone. You say not now, or you move away, or you put the kitten somewhere and leave the room. You do not do it to hurt her. You just did not know. But she does not know that you did not know. What she knows is that she overrode every alarm in her body to bring you the most important thing she has, and you were not there to receive it. Researchers studying maternal behavior in cats have observed that mothers who experience repeated rejection of their kittens, who carry them to a human and have that offering declined or ignored, show measurable changes in their own behavior toward that human in the weeks that follow. Reduced proximity seeking, reduced vocational contact, reduced initiation of interaction, not dramatic withdrawal, quiet withdrawal. The kind that looks like the cat is just being independent, when what the cat is actually doing is recalibrating the verdict. The file gets updated, the assessment changes, and the level of trust that produced that offering, the level that took months or years to build, begins to quietly revise itself downward. Not to zero, cats are more forgiving than they are given credit for, but downward, in a way that matters, in a way that means next time she has something precious, she may not think of you first. And next time and the time after, until eventually the offering stops, not with drama, not with a confrontation, just quietly, gradually, the way all trust erodes when it meets too many closed doors. The cat who used to bring you everything starts bringing you nothing, and she seems fine, and you assume she is just more independent now, and you never connect it to the day you were too busy to hold what she carried across the room. I am not telling you this to make you feel guilty about the past. I am telling you this so that the next time, if there is a next time, you stop. Whatever you are doing, wherever you are going, whatever felt important 30 seconds ago, you stop, and you receive what she is offering with both hands and your full attention, and the understanding that you are holding something that cost her everything she has to give. 7. What this moment says about you and why she knew before you did. Step back from all of it, the biology and the neuroscience and the stress hormones and the social learning. Step back from all of it and just sit with the simple fact of what happened. She chose you. Out of every person who has ever walked through her life, every hand that has reached toward her, every voice that has spoken her name, every presence that has shared her space, she chose you to be the one who holds what matters most to her. Not randomly, not by accident, not because you were closest or because it was convenient, because of everything you were to her, accumulated over every ordinary day you spent together without knowing you were being observed and assessed and slowly, carefully trusted. She saw something in you that you may not have known was there. Steadiness, gentleness, the particular quality of presence that a mother cat's nervous system recognizes as safe, not as a calculation, but as a felt truth that arrives before thought does. She knew before you did what you were capable of being to something small and defenseless, and completely dependent on the world around it to be gentle. And she brought her kittens to you to prove it. So the next time you remember that moment, the weight of something that's small in your hands, the sound of her moving back and forth across the room, the way she looked at you between each one. Remember what you were. Remember what she saw. Remember that an animal who trusts nothing easily, who is built to hide everything precious, who carries more alarm in her body than most creatures have to run from, trusted you with everything. And she was right. If this changed the way you remember that moment, share it. Tag the person who was there. Tag the person who needs to understand what their cat just did. Drop a comment telling me about the time a mother cat brought you her kittens, how many there were, what you did, whether you knew what it meant. Because I want to read every single one. And I want the mothers who did this to know through whoever reads this next, that what they offered was received. That it was always worth receiving. Next week, why a mother cat moves her kittens the moment you touch them, what that feels like from her side, and the thing you can do differently that changes her answer completely.